Okay, students, we are back here with Max, and I wanted to show you something. I had this lovely little pillow that somebody made in here, and I snipped a couple of the stitches, just like that, and got in, and I'm pulling out just a little bit of fiber fill, and then I'll go back and I'll stitch this back up. So if you're at home and you don't have access to fiber fill, you actually probably have access to more fiber fill than you realize. Please don't do this with your mom's good pillows. Use those really old ratty pillows that nobody really likes anymore. So I have Max here. Max's arm is sewn up and I've stitched all the way around it. I am going to show you how to end this off here in a minute. And I'm going to turn off my projector because it's really distracting. So we stitch this around, and I'm going to take my time actually stuffing. I'm taking a little bit of this. I don't want to use a pencil. Pencil is actually too pokey, and it's probably a little bit thick for this. So I got his arm. Now when I have a situation where I'm stuffing his legs or his belly, that area is going to be smaller, so it's not that big of a deal. And I'm going to do this. I am filming this while my B-Day students are sitting in here. So if you hear them, that's them. I'm going to tuck this down here. So now his hand is a little squishy. And I'm just using a little bit at a time. If you were to use a pair of scissors to do this, I have blasted through seams before by accident. The chopsticks in the sushi department at Kroger would be great, and they're free. Always used for chopsticks. And I'm just using, in this case, my paintbrush handle. That's working pretty well. If you don't have little skinny areas to fill, if more of your stuff is like that, then you don't have to worry about this. But if you have little skinny areas, you take just a little bit at a time. And it really hasn't taken me that long. I'm looking at the clock and I'm just 3 minutes in. That's better than me having to go back and resew everything because I've blasted the seams. So there's that. And I'll finish up right here. And feeling down through his arm, it's really, there's a hole there. So I'm going to push this a little bit further. And then I'm going to pack just this little bit more, and it'll probably be sticking out just a little bit. So we got a stuffed arm. We got extra fiber fill in there. It's just going to stay put. And I'm now at the point where I'm really ready to call this piece of thread done. I've gone as far as I can, really, or pretty close to it. And the problem is that because my knot was up here and this is doubled up, I have a loop here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this to my next thread, or my next starting point, but I'm going to bring it to the inside, like And so there's that. Use my scissors. Snip. Pull apart those two pieces. And I'm going to tie them into a knot. And I should have done a knot tying on here. It's called a square knot, essentially. It's like you're tying your shoelaces. But the first time you tie your shoelaces, you have to do that a second time. You got to do that twice. So like here, I would make a bow if I were tying shoelaces, but I don't want it to be bow. I want it to be a knot. So that's hidden in the inside. There's my little max. In the previous video, I was showing you this stitch right here, and then I started showing you the blanket stitch. And so I went ahead and completed the blanket stitch around his foot and decided I like it down there, and I'm going to do his other foot with that blanket stitch. But I'm going to continue this wraparound stitch down here until I get to his foot, and then I'm going to do that wraparound here too. So this just gives his, I might do this with his ears too, I don't know yet. So the way I start over again, I'm going to go ahead, pull out my embroidery floss, cut that off, pinch it really, really tight. Hey Henry, I'm threading a needle if you want to watch it in real time. So I got a couple of people who are curious about this. And this is a tricky one. So when I thread a needle, I don't do this, because clearly that's a pain. And you're going to have a tricky side of it. So I pinch it really tight between my thumb and forefinger. There's the eye of my needle, and I just kind of wiggle it right on. But that's where it's important that you have an eye of your needle to match the thickness and the width of your actual embroidery floss or thread that you're using. And for this one, so we're doing this stitch right here, I'm actually taking the two ends of my floss and I am tying them into a knot. So I just wrap them around my finger and roll them off. And for the kids at home that may or may not be listening, and for the kids who are here who've not watched the videos yet, you never want to tie a knot up here, because if you tie a knot up here, you're not going to be able to pull it through the fabric. Okay, so to get started, I'm going to come underneath, because I'm hiding my knots in the inside, pulling through. So my knot's tucked on the inside next to the knot that I just tied off. And I'm just circling around and making sure I have both sides. So there you go. We got you rolling. So I'm going to go stuff this foot. Maybe I'll come back on here and show you this portion right here. But that's where we're at today. Later on, after I've used my stuffing out of here, I'm just going to go back with my needle and thread. I'm going to fix this pillow and call it a day. Your bed pillows, they work, but if it's a brand new pillow, don't be tearing it apart. If it's your couch pillow, don't be tearing it apart. Ask your mom which pillow is old, and she doesn't care if it's not as fluffy as it is today. Talk to y'all later. Bye.